that it's a naked picture of his genitals.
Oh, that's what it is?
But how do we know it's not Andrew Breitbart's? There's nothing to prove that that is Anthony Weiner's.
Is part of his face? Is part of his face in there, Barbara?
His
No, his face is not there.
Does it say Anthony Weiner?
Is there a mole on the left side? I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
I don't think that Anthony Weiner has denied it. I think that
At
may
this point,
Then it must be a flattering photo. Back to my original point. He's not denying this
Let me
thing.
tell you something. It is.
Mike, your opinion of Andrew Breitbart?
Well, Breitbart, look, that's the worst thing about this story. Here's a guy who's had no credibility. We've seen him in the past phony up stories, phony up videos. He's the kind of guy you expect to talk about aliens and monkey people.
He fell into this one.
He fell into it. Yeah, every now and then, every squirrel gets a nut. But I got to tell you something. It doesn't change the way most progressives should look at him.
That's right.
It's like the National Enquirer on the Johnny Edwards story. They still are the people who talk about UFOs and monkey people most of the time. That is that is Breitbart.
Anthony Weiner has bad manners on Facebook. I mean, it's just. I mean, yes, they're naked bad manners and he lies about them and all those things, but like, really, John Ensign is less of a big deal?
How has the media handled this? So there you have Andrew Breitbart, who was, by many people, reviled, what he has done in the past, allegedly, about taking tapes, cutting and splicing to misrepresent, had made him a pariah within the mainstream media. And now here he is, having led this, and I think many people are going to say he's rehabilitated himself, whereas the mainstream media was nowhere until he led the mainstream media by the nose. Do you see it this way? Am I wrong?
I don't see Andrew Breitbart as having done anything wrong on this story. Indeed, he held back the photo, although he allowed Opie and Anthony to take a picture of it. But having ricocheted now, Elliot, from to John Edwards to Arnold Schwarzenegger to Dominic Strauss-Kahn and now this story, each one is legitimate. I can sit here and defend to you each one of those stories, but the degree of piling on, the way it takes over, the way it hijacks cable news, the way it hijacks the morning shows, the way it is all over the internet, says to me that we are more interested in covering salacious topics than the matters of the economy, war, and peace. That's not a novel statement on my part. I've just never seen it spin at this velocity, this out of control.
Since this thing started, the absence of commentary from the elected class in Washington has been deafening. This has been fought and reported outside of their realm. Do I think that there are skeletons in many a closet? Do I think that there are other people sexting? I mean, my goodness, and within the last 6 months, we have 2 congressmen in peril because they took shirtless photos and put them on the internet. So I think these guys just need to be a little bit more careful about what they do in their private lives, because if they do things that can compromise this country, reporters like me, journalists like me, and organizations like mine have every right to expose it.
All right, Andrew Breitbart, thank you. And let me just add one voice. You and I, and I think most folks know this, disagree on a whole bunch of stuff, but I think the world does need to acknowledge that you, having been accused of hacking and all the rest, were fairly responding to that by proving that your case was there. And so, as I say, I think you did what you needed to do, and so we now march forward. So, Andrew, thank you for joining us.
It's getting very, very hard to defend the behavior politically of the party. Now you throw on top of that immoral behavior, indiscreet behavior, embarrassing behavior, gross behavior like this, and you still have them in your midst. And that's my question to you. If you're Steny Hoyer, who does speak for the Blue Dogs, if you're Nancy Pelosi, the former speaker who has to deal with them, don't you have to deal with the fact you're losing any chance of getting back a 218 majority? I want you to pick this up, Ben. This is, to me, the stakes here. If he stays, they never get the leadership back. They never get the speakership back, because the people in the rural areas of this country who are Christian, conservative, culturally, you can say backward if you want, but they don't like this kind of stuff at all. They're not part of that 56% in Brooklyn and Queens that say, okay, we can live with this guy. Your thoughts, Ben? Isn't that the cutting edge of this?
Former Virginia Governor Tim Kaine, who'd stepped down as chairman of the Democratic Party to run for the U.S. Senate, so far is the biggest member of Weiner's old party to call for him to resign.
On both sides of the aisle, things like this happen in unfortunate ways. Lying is unforgivable. Lying publicly about something like this is unforgivable, and he should resign.
Maryland Democratic Congressman Chris Von Hollen was equally tough on the New York congressman during an appearance on Fox 5 Morning News.
He engaged in despicable conduct, and the Ethics Committee is going to thoroughly investigate this and report back, I hope, sooner rather than later.